My word, what a few weeks it has been in American politics. Before we get to the latest news out of Washington, which we're going to talk about with Rowan Dean and Rita Panahi, let's have a look at some breaking news in the classified document scandal that has the power to potentially end Joe Biden's presidency. I thought that since it was a Sunday, we ought to check in and see how the president, who has more than once claimed he grew up going to black churches, was going.
Come on, clap your hands, all ye people. Shout it to God with a voice of triumph. Take me up. Yeah. Come on, the power of the Lord is here. The power of the Lord is here. The power of the Lord is here. I feel it in the atmosphere.
That's right. The power of the Lord is here, but Joe Biden's rhythm, not so much. That was, of course, the president attending services at Ebenezer Baptist Church for Martin Luther King Jr. Day service. And didn't he look comfortable in that environment? Seriously, though, why wouldn't he? Because, as I said before, he has said a number of times in the past that he was raised in black churches.
I got raised in the black church. He knows I'm not kidding.
I got my education for real in the black church. And that's not hyperbole, it's a fact.
And let's lay one thing to rest. I may be a practicing Catholic, but I used to go to 7:30 Mass every morning in high school and then in college before I went to the black church.
Okay, gosh, Mr. President, look, I can't say I've had as much experience in churches of any sort as you claim to, but what did they tell you in any of those joints about bearing false witness? Anyway, before we talk about the latest in the Biden document scandal, I wanted to bring to your attention another American politician, former Vice President Al Gore, who has not only done so much to rev up the world's climate hysteria, but has also, guess what, managed to make a pretty penny out of it in the process. First, let's have a moment to listen to what Al Gore had to say at the Davos World Economic Forum meeting earlier this week. It may be early where you are, but nevertheless, I recommend maybe you want to pour a little stiff drink to sit this one through.
When are we going to bring these emissions down? And just to put the science in a slightly different context, people are familiar with that thin blue line that the astronauts bring back in their pictures from space. That's the part of the atmosphere that has oxygen, the troposphere, and it's only 5 to 7 kilometers thick. That's what we're using as an open sewer. If you could drive a car straight up in the air at interstate highway speeds, you'd get to the top of that blue line in 5 minutes. And all the greenhouse gas pollution would be below you. We're still putting 162 million tons into it every single day. And the accumulated amount is now trapping as much extra heat as would be released by 600,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every single day on the Earth. That's what's boiling the ocean.
599? How many 100,000 atom bombs a day? Wow, I mean, he's pretty animated there, and so much, I guess, for the idea of a wooden Al Gore, who couldn't even do the Macarena, and who famously wasn't opposed to an occasional massage to help him limber up. But hey, that's another story. We don't need to talk about that here. Seriously, though, did you listen to the guy? What a lunatic, paranoid, sanctimonious smug. Could you imagine anything worse than having to sit next to him on the obviously electric bus? But it turns out there is a method to his madness, because according to the Daily Mail, guess what? Al Gore is now collecting a $2 million a month salary after losing, which he's been doing since he lost to George W. Bush in 2000, when he set up the Generation Investment Management Fund with former Goldman Sachs managing director and close friend David W. Blood. Now, apparently the fund has something like $36 billion under management, and I guess it's nice work if you can get it. Turning on the fear at global warming events like the WEF, and then turning that around with $200,000 per speaking gigs, and then whipping up the hysteria some more to create investment into your fund, as everyone else, you, me, your neighbors are stuck with higher power prices and electric cars that conk out at the worst time and can't start in the cold. Anyway, back to U.S. politics, and I want to bring in Rita and Rowan on this in a minute, but breaking news, because we've got to bring you up to speed on the latest in the classified document scandal, where they have been found all over the joint, or rather all the joints, including the Biden's old vice presidential think tank, which has collected, here's some more money, $50 million in donations from the Chinese, and they've also been found in the garage at his private residence in Wilmington, Delaware, which apparently was okay because, well, have a listen.
Classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street.
And what's more, insiders of the White House seem to have known about this document problem, including the documents next to the Corvette, which was in a locked garage, so don't get all suspicious about that, before the midterm elections. But they kept it quiet, and we can only assume to avoid giving Republicans ammunition in what was a close election. Well, as the old saying goes, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And have I got some fascinating news about how the White House, how the Biden White House has been managing, or rather covering up, the scandal. According to this very carefully put together piece by the New York Times, the White House has been getting Anita Dunn to help them out. Who's that? Well, means that this must be serious, because if you don't know Dunn, she was in the lead at the Obama White House's communications operations war against Fox News. And she was there until she was forced to resign after it came out that she had praised Mao Zedong in a speech, calling him one of her great inspirations. And she has been in and out of the Biden administrations, reportedly being one of the geniuses behind the phrase ultra MAGA. Well, gosh, wasn't that smart? She's a real clever cookie, that one. And according to the website Influence Watch, Dunn has also been linked to such lovely people as Harvey Weinstein, and once said that COVID was the best thing to ever happen to Joe Biden and the Democrats.